So, first we have the planning hierarchy, and it's something that every successful business would use. It's something that they'd use to take their business to the next level, and without that, they're not going to have a very long run with their business. So basically, that framework can be broken down into three different groups. The first one being the strategic planning. So the strategic planning is looking into the long run for their company. They want to create goals for themselves that are going to set themselves up in the future to have a long, successful career. They try and have a clear-cut vision. Without that, who knows where their company's going to go? So that's the main thing that they want to do. An example that I can think of would be, the mission or vision statements, or the core values. Those are three different things within the strategic planning that a company would want. The next group would be the tactical planning, and that would be breaking down the strategic planning into smaller portions to make it more manageable. Basically, you'd want to look at how they can achieve those big goals that they set out for themselves. That's sort of similar to the next one, which would be the operational planning. That's basically your more day-to-day type planning, where you focus on that, and it kind of breaks down the tactical planning a little more. So that would basically support both the tactical planning and the strategic planning. So basically, all three of those are very linked together, and without one of those, the planning for the business is all going to go all over the place. You're not going to have, you're not going to go where you want to go. So you need to have that planning, from the biggest planning that you can have all the way down to the smallest that you can have. And with that, you're going to be successful. So for part two of this, it was, basically with the new technologies, new cultures, people coming in, all over the world, different viewpoints, climate change, that's a big one that's changing. Marketers really need to take a look at the environment around them, and basically one way that they can do this and assess their business would be through a SWOT analysis. So it would be their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So those four big categories would give companies a different angle to look at and be able to try and achieve those goals that they set out before. So it's just a different viewpoint that they can look at, and ultimately that will help in the long run for sure, and ultimately give them a much better chance for success, because that's the biggest thing right there, and be able to have a better grasp of the environment around them. And then building off of that, the 5 environmental areas that marketers will want to keep their eye on would be the political, which would be like government regulations. Another one would be economic, which would be more like inflation. Competitive, different competitive companies would maybe put out a new product that can give them an advantage. Technological, new technologies are coming out every year, and we've come so far with the technology, so now that's a basis for new markets and stuff like that. And then social. You got different people. Everything's very multicultural now, which is great, but it provides new markets and different people to advertise to. Yeah. And then lastly, the marketing strategy. Basically, this is broken down into two different groups. The target market and the marketing mix. So the target market would be the main group of people that you want to advertise to. I think of it like a company like, I play baseball, so a company like Mizuno, their target market would be baseball players, softball players, stuff like that. And they'd advertise in areas where baseball players and softball players are going to be. They wouldn't put like a flyer, for example, in a movie theater, because that's not their market. It would just be a waste of time, waste of money, and people who don't even care wouldn't even look at it. So that's a big thing you want to stress on your target market and figure out who they are, and advertise and market to them. The marketing mix would be the marketing mix also consists of 4 different aspects, and it would be the product, distribution, promotion, and pricing. So basically, if one of those 4 things is off, the target market may not want to buy those products. For example, if the pricing's off, if it's too high, you're not going to get customers. If you can't distribute your product to your target market or advertise to them, they're not going to be able to see it, or not going to be able to buy it. If you can't promote it properly to them, or if the product itself isn't up to standards to what the customer's needs and wants are. Those are the big things, and those 2 things consist of the marketing strategy. So all of those things are what makes a business successful, and those are the things that companies really need to stress on to have success in the future.